So let's get started by talking about the hardware you will need to do some recording. Now, this could go into a whole, semester-long class, and it has before for me. So we're just gonna rip through the main components you need. The main things you need that you probably know about are obviously a computer, Ableton Live, things like that, and a microphone, right? You need a microphone. There's one other piece of the puzzle that you need as well that you might not think about. It's not so transparent. So let's talk about microphones first. So I have with me here a slight assortment of microphones. This is one of these blue things. This is a USB microphone. Not so good. Perfectly fine for like recording dialogue and like just talking and things like that. But for doing any kind of professional audio recording, you want to be sure that you're not really using something that's USB on the back. You want something that has an actual microphone output, this 3-prong thing. This is called an XLR cable or an XLR output, and you'll need a cable that is an XLR cable. It looks like this on one side and this on the other. So it has this 3-pronged thing. The reason you want that kind of goes into this extra little piece of hardware that you may not have thought about yet. So let's talk about that, and then maybe we'll jump back to microphones, and this will all make sense. The reason is a professional microphone uses this XLR connector, right? So if you look around on your computer right now, find me the spot where you can plug one of these in. You can't, right? There is no connection. There is no XLR input on your computer. There is not now, and there never was, I don't think. Maybe some bizarre computer did back in the day. But you will not be able to plug this into your computer. And the reason is this carries an analog signal from your microphone down the cable, but your computer needs a digital signal, right? Your computer needs to accept digital information. So we need something that converts an analog signal to a digital signal, an analog to digital converter, if you will. That's actually what we call them, AD converter, ADC. These kinds of microphones are an analog microphone. You can talk into it, and the converter is all built into here, which means that it's kind of a cheap converter, and these converters can be important. They are the things that change the sound from an analog signal to a digital signal, so you can lose a lot of quality in that conversion. So these ones that are doing the conversion right inside the microphone are going to be kind of lower quality converters, which again can be fine for something like dialogue. So you need a more robust converter. Now your computer has a converter in it. Your computer has a microphone. It might be kind of hidden from you, but if you can use Skype or anything like that, you can talk into it and it can record it, right? Or it can transmit it through Skype. So there is a converter in there, but it's not a pro quality. So what we do is we use these external pieces of hardware that are converters. So I have actually 2 of them here. One of them I'm using. So let me just kind of show you how this works. I have basically 2 whole separate setups here in my little home studio. So I have my main studio configuration, which is over there, which I'm not using at all to make this video. And over here, I have a laptop, a microphone, and a converter. That's what I need to do to record this class, because this microphone is plugged into a converter, which is then plugged into the computer, which is recording the sound. So I'm gonna, I hope this works. I'm gonna switch over to using my phone to record the next little blurb here, just so I can walk you around a little bit more. I'm kind of tethered down right here and show you one of these converters and how it works. So I'm gonna try that. Okay, here we are. This is me sitting in front of my computer. You were just here, and now you're here. So I'm just gonna take a step back and show you how I'm set up here. So basically, I have a laptop, and this is how I do all of these videos. I have a laptop, I have a microphone. So here is my microphone. This is a Beta 58. It's a Shure, it's kind of a slightly different version of the SM58. You don't really need to know that, but it's a very solid microphone. Then I'm going down into here, and this is the interface we're talking about. This is called a Motu Ultralight. Motu is the name of the company. Ultralight is the model. So here's my microphone coming in right here. And I can plug a couple more microphones into the back of it. And out of this comes USB, which is right here. And that is what does the conversion, this box. So I can plug microphones into that. I can plug several microphones into that. And I can also plug speakers into that. So it does the other conversion as well, which is giving me good quality audio out of my computer. So microphones go in, I can adjust some levels there, and then it goes into the computer, and the conversion is already done right there. Now, if I look at my main studio setup here, I have a big mixer here, and you might think that the mixer is where something's happening, but it's not. None of the digital conversion happens in the mixer. This is just routing analog signals. These are all analog signals because they're either XLR cables or instrument cables. So they're just routing different sounds. My actual digital conversion is happening over here in this box. This is a Motu Traveler, and this is kind of an older model, but it's just been really solid to me, so I really love it. I can plug 8 microphones into this. Into the back of it is where you actually plug them in. And I can see the levels of each microphone right here. I can adjust them. I can see what's coming out right here. These are the outputs. If I play some music, should be able to see something coming out of it. There we are. Something really quiet coming out. Let's pause that. And so that is my conversion right there. And we go out of this. This is actually goes out FireWire because it's kind of old. And into my computer, which is all the way over here and down there. So main thing is you need one of these boxes. Now, I'm sure you're probably getting seasick from me jumping all over the place with this camera. So let's go back into the screen world now. Okay, now we're back. Hopefully that was useful. It might be a little shaky, but I really wanted to show you kind of how it's set up in here. So that box, it's called an analog to digital converter. It's also a digital to analog converter, like I mentioned. And the kind of colloquial term we use for all of those things is an audio interface. That means that it's a DAC, digital analog to converter, and an analog to digital converter, an ADC. So we call it an audio interface. So if you're going to get one of these things, look them up online. Both of the ones that I have are made by a company called Motu, which I love Motu stuff. I don't work for them. I have no real allegiance to them, but I've been using their audio interfaces for a long time and have been really happy with them. I think they're really solid. Price ranges are probably $600 to $1,000 or somewhere in there. So they're kind of in the upper tier, but these audio interfaces can get really expensive and really cheap. You can get some less expensive ones that also work pretty well. So M Audio is a company that makes some pretty decent ones. The Sapphire one, that's another company. Those ones are pretty good and somewhere, I think, less interesting or less good than Motu, but still very solid. So that is an audio interface. That's how you can plug a microphone into your computer. And it does that digital conversion for you at a very high quality. So to wrap up here, the hardware that we need is our computer and all that good stuff. We need a microphone of some kind, maybe many microphones, depending on what you're going to do, and a audio interface to do the conversion for you. Okay, so we're going to talk, I think talking about microphones requires a little bit more explanation, so we'll talk a little bit more about microphones in a minute, but first we'll talk about setting some of this stuff up.